Good morning to all. Our Ourselves Group 7 is here going to present about the topic ball and beam system. How many of you are familiar with the ball and beam system? If you are not, let's get into it. The ball and beam system consists of a long beam which can be tilted by a servo or electric motor together with a ball rolling back and forth on the top of the beam. It is a simple system which is open loop unstable. So, even if the beam is restricted to be very nearly horizontal without any active feedback, it will sink to one side or the another, and the ball will roll off the end of the beam. To stabilize the ball, a control system which measures the position of the ball and adjusts the beam accordingly must be used. Okay, now we can move into the modeling of the system. First of all, the physical setup. A ball is placed on the beam, allowed to roll 1 degree of freedom along the length of the beam. A lever arm is attached to the beam at one end and a servo gear at the other. As the servo gear turns by an angle theta, the lever changes the angle of the beam by alpha. When the angle is changed from horizontal position, the gravity causes the ball to roll along the beam. These are the system parameters, where small m is the mass of the ball, capital R is the radius of the ball, D is the lever arm offset, G is the gravitational acceleration, L is the length of the beam, J is the ball's moment of inertia, small r is the ball position coordinate, alpha beam angle coordinate, theta being the servo gear angle. There are some design criteria for this. Settling time should be less than 3 seconds and the overshoot should be less than 5%. Now the system equations. The second derivative of input angle alpha actually affects the second derivative of r. However, we will ignore this contribution. The Lagrangian equation of the motion of the ball is then given by the following equation. Linearization of this equation about the beam angle at alpha is equal to 0 gives us the following linear approximation of the system. The equation which takes the beam angle to the angle of the gear can be approximated as linear by the equation. Substituting this into the previous equation, we get the final one as. Now the transfer function. Taking the Laplace transform of the equation above, the following equation is found. That is, by taking the Laplace transform of the fourth equation, we get a new equation. Rearranging, we find the transfer function from the gear angle theta of s to the ball position r of s, which is given at last. It should be noted that the above planned transfer function is a double integrator. As such, it is marginally stable and will provide a challenging control problem. Okay, now we can look into the analysis of this system, ball and beam system. We have derived the transfer function from the gear angle to the ball position as P of s is equal to R of s by theta of s. Now when we consider about the pole zero map, here shown below, the real axis, imaginary axis, we can see the pole zero map here. The ball and beam system is a type 2 system. It has two poles at the origin. Since the poles are not strictly in the left half plane, the open loop system will be unstable. It is clearly shown in the step response given below. This is the open loop step response. From this plot, it is clear that the system is unstable in open loop, causing the ball to roll right of the end of the beam. Therefore, some method of controlling the ball's position in this system is required.
Hello, I am Fabna. Today I am going to discuss about the topic PID controller and root locus in ball and beam system. First we look what is PID controller. A PID controller continuously calculates an error value, has a difference between a desired set point and a measured process variable, and applies a correction based on a proportional, integral and derivative term. PID is an initialism for proportional, integral, derivative, referring to the three terms operating on the error signal to produce a control signal. In this slide, we are seeing a unity feedback signal. Then the equation for a PID controller, the control signal is Kp into E of t plus Ki into integral of E of t dt plus Kp into d by dt of E. Let's look at the general tips for designing a PID controller, obtain an open loop response and determine what need to be improved. Add a proportional control to improve the rise time, add a derivative control to the reduced overshoot, add an integral control to reduce the steady state error, adjust each of the gain Kp, Ki and Kd until you obtain a desired overall response. The block diagram for this example with a controller and a unity feedback of the bolt's position has shown below. It's having controller, plant, etc. The transfer function for a PID controller is C of S equal to Kp plus Ki by S plus Kd into S. This slide is about proportional control. The closed loop transfer function for proportional control with a proportional gain equal to 1 can be modeled by following lines of MATLAB code into a new M file. These are the MATLAB code. Now we can model the system's response to a step input of 0.25 M. Add this following lines of code into this MATLAB code. As you can see, the system remains marginally stable with the addition of a proportional gain. Try changing the value of Kp and note the system remains unstable. Then we talk about proportional derivative control. Now we will add a derivative term to the controller. Copy the following lines of code to your M file and run it to view the system's response to this control method. Your plot should be similar to following. Now the system is stable, but the overshoot is much too high and settling time need to be go down a bit. From the PID sections, we understand by increasing KD, we can lower the overshoot and decrease the settling time slightly. Therefore, make KD equal to 20 in your M file and run it again. You should get the output like this. Now the overshoot criteria is met, but the settling time need to be come down a bit. To decrease the settling time, we may try increase the Kp slightly to increase the rise time. The derivative gain Kd can also be increased to take off some of the overshoot that increasing Kp will cause. After playing with the gains a bit, the following step response plot can be achieved with Kp equal to 15 and Kd equal to 40. The following code can be added to your MATLAB and run it. You get the output as seen in this figure. As you can see from the above plot, all the control objectives have been met without the use of an integral controller. Settling time for this example is considered achieved when the response is less than 2% of final value. Remember one thing that for a control problem, there is usually more than one solution for the problem. The next one is root locus. The main idea of root locus design is to estimate the closed loop response from the open loop root locus plot by adding zeros and or poles to the original system. By adding a compensator, the root locus and thus the closed loop response will be modified. Let us first view the root locus for the plant in open loop. We can see that this system has two poles at the origin which go off to infinity along the imaginary axis. The design criteria can also be plotted onto the root locus using the sgrid command. This command generates a grid of constant damping ratio and natural frequency. The damping ratio and natural frequency were found using the following equations which relate them to our maximum percentage overshoot and settling time requirement. Note that the equation with settling time is found by assuming the system has settled when the response remains within 2% of final value. From these equations, the damping ratio and natural frequency was found out to be 0.7 and 1.9 respectively. And then add the following code to your MATLAB and run it. You get the output has like this. The area between the two dotted diagonal lines represent locations where the percent overshoot is less than 5%, and the area outside the curved line represent a location where the settling time is less than 3 seconds. Note that no region of the plot falls within the design criteria shown by this line. To remedy this and bring the root locus into the left half plane for stability, we will try adding a lead compensator to the system. A first order lead compensator tends to shift the root locus into the left hand plane. Add the controller to the plant and view the root locus. For that, the MATLAB code is given and we get the root locus plot as like this. Now the branches of the root locus are within our design criteria. This slide is about selecting the gain. That we have moved the root locus into the left hand plane, we must select a gain that will satisfy our design requirement. We can use the rlogfind command to help to do this. Add this command onto the end of your M file, then go to the plot and select a point near those indicated by the cross marks on the plot. After doing this, you should see the following output in the MATLAB command window. Note that the values returned in your MATLAB command window may not be exactly the same, but should at least have the same order of magnitude. Now we can plot the response with this gain. Next is plotting the closed loop response. This value of k can be put into the system and the closed loop response to a step input of 0.25 m can be obtained. Add the following lines to your M file. Run your M file and select a point on the root locus similar to the selected point above. The step response should look like the following. From this plot, we see that when a 0.25 m step input is given to the system, both the settling time and percent overshoot design criteria are met. And from this, we note that a design problem does not necessarily have a unique answer. Using this method or any other may result in many different compensators.
Frequency domain method for control design. This is the open loop transfer function of the plant for the ball and beam experiment. The design criteria for this problem are the settling time should be less than 3 seconds and should be less than 5%. Open loop border plot. In this section, we are going to obtain the open border plot of this ball and beam experiment. The main idea of the frequency-based design is to use the border plot of the open loop transfer function to estimate the closed loop response. By adding a controller to the system, it will change the open loop border plot, therefore changing the closed loop response. For that, we should obtain the border plot of the original open loop transfer function. For this, we should create a new M file with the following code and then run it in our MATLAB command window. This is the following border diagram obtained. From this plot, we can see that the phase margin is around 0. Since the phase margin is around 0, we can assume that our system is unstable. Since the phase margin is defined as the change in open loop phase shift necessary to make a closed loop system unstable. Now we should increase our phase margin so that we can get a desired value. For that, we should use a lead compensator controller. Phase lead controller. This is a first order phase lead compensator. In this following form, we can understand that the phase lead compensator will add positive phase to our system over a frequency range 1 by AT and 1 by T, which are corner frequencies. K is constant. So the maximum added phase for one lead compensator is around 90 degrees. First of all, for obtaining the values of T and A, the following steps should be applied. Determine the positive phase needed. In this case, we should need at least 70 degrees from a controller. Then we should determine the frequency where the phase should be added. But in our case, it is very difficult to obtain the phase versus frequency graph in a border plot is a flat line. However, the solution for this problem is that we have a relation between the bandwidth frequency and settling time, which is around 1.92 radians per second. Therefore, we should have a center frequency just before this. For that, we will assume our center frequency 1 radians per second. Now we should determine our constant A from the equation below. A is 1 by sine phi by 1 plus sine. As we know, the phi refers to desired phase margin. Our phase margin will be 70 degrees, and which will give the value of A around 0.031. Now we should determine T and AT from the following equation. The T is equal to 1 by omega root A, where omega is the frequency, A is the constant. whereas 80 is equal to root A by omega. By assuming our phase margin to be 70 degree and center frequency of 1, the 80's value will be around 0.176 and the value of t will be around 5.67. Now we can add a lead control to the system and view the border plot. This is the border diagram update. From this border diagram, we can see our phase margin is 70 degrees. Now we can check the closed loop response to a step input of 0.25. For that, we should add the following to our M5. We will get the following plot. Although the system is stable, our overshoot is slightly more than 5% and settling time is not satisfactory. But if we increase the gain, it will increase the crossover frequency and make the response faster. For that, we will assume K is equal to 5 and our response will look like this. From this, we can understand the response is faster. Our overshoot is much higher. But if we increase our gain, it will make the overshoot more worse. For that, we should add more phases. By adding more phase, we can increase our phase lead compositor to decrease the overshoot. For that, we should create an M file with this following code. As we know that phase margin is assigned around 80, the frequency will be around 1, the constant will be around 1. This is the border diagram obtained. But from this border diagram, we can understand that our overshoot is fine, but the settling time is just a bit long. By trying different numbers in our code, this is the following border diagram obtained. And in this code, we can see that we assumed our phase margin 85, a frequency around 1.9, and a constant K around 2.
Hello, myself Bharat Vinod. We will be discussing about the ball and beam Simulink modeling. So basically this is our system. We have a ball of mass m, a beam. It is inclined at an angle alpha. This is the motor which controls the inclination of the beam. This is the input motor angle theta. This distance is between the center of the gear and the lever arm D. The length of the beam is L meters. The ball is at a position R meters from here. Basically, we need to design a system which takes the input angle theta and moves the ball position accordingly. So in our system, the Lagrangian equation of the motion of the ball is given by this equation, as Ashwin KV has already explained. J is the moment of inertia of the ball, R square is the radius of the ball, m is the mass, R double dash is the second derivative of the position, which is acceleration of the ball, mg sine alpha is the angle of the beam, m minus mr alpha dot square. Now we have another relation between alpha and theta, that is alpha is equal to d by L theta. So we will be using these two equations for the modeling of our system. From the Lagrangian equation of the motion of the ball, we can write that r double dash is equal to minus of mg sine alpha minus m r alpha dot square divided by j by r square plus m. Now we are going to design a system which takes theta as the input and gives position of the ball as the output. So these are the two equations. Here we can see that alpha r and alpha dot are the only variables, all others are constant. So we will use this equation as a function in our Simulink. In a Simulink function block, we can only assign variables as a function of u. So we will be assigning these variables u of 1 as r, u of 2 as r dot, u of 3 is alpha and u of 4 is alpha dot. In this equation there is no r dot. We are only giving this for the sake of systematic representation. Now we will be designing the system. Here we have the second derivative of r as the output. So in the MATLAB modeling, this is the function block and this is the function we assign to this block. So the output will be r double dot, but here we need the output as r. So we integrate it one time with an integration block 1 by s. The output will be r dot. We will integrate it again with another integration block. Output will become r. We will connect it to the output port. Now for the input of this function block, we will be needing r dot, alpha and alpha dot. R is connected directly, r dot is connected from here. Now there is no alpha and alpha dot, but we have theta as input, so theta will be made into alpha by a gain block of d by L, this equation. So this will become alpha connected to the mux. This is a mux, sorry I forgot to tell. Now we need alpha dot, so we will take this alpha and take the derivative delta u by u. We can find all these blocks in MATLAB, just search the name. So this is the basic system. This is a vector representation. This is theta input angle. This is the r position as output. So when we give theta as an input to this subsystem, we get position as the output. Now let us look into the MATLAB model. This is the model me and my team created. Same diagram. This is the model. We double click. We can see the function assigned. We cannot directly give alpha r. So we are using functions of u as input variable name u1, u2, u3. There is no r dot in that equation. So this r dot, whether we give it or not, there will not be any change. Now we can make all of this into a subsystem. So select all of it, press Ctrl X, it will be cut. Click on the screen and just type subsystem. Yes, we got a subsystem. Double click, delete this, and press Ctrl V to paste our subsystem. So it is complete. Here we can see that it has become a subsystem. Now let's go back. So we can see that theta is the input, ball position r is the output. Now we can give a step input and see the response. Let's change the step time 0, so that will be high all the time. It is connected to theta. Now let's add a scope to view the position. Just take scope. Now before running, we need to assign this constants the values. For that we will be going to the command window. This is the command window. You can already see that I have assigned the value. M is 0.111, R is 0.015, G, L, D and J is the moment of inertia of the ball. Just type this and press enter. Now we can see that the values have been assigned here in the workspace. Now let us go into our model and run it for 10 seconds. Yes, now let us look into the scope. You can see this open loop system is unstable. It is rising exponentially. About 10 seconds it has reached here. When it reaches infinity, this value will go to infinity. So our open loop system is not stable. To make it stable, we need to add a controller and make it a closed loop system. We will be following root locus control design explained by Fabina. So in the system we need to add a gain and a lead compensator. For the lead compensator, we can add transfer function block. This is our lead compensator. Now we need to add zeros and poles. As designed earlier, adding 0 at 0.01 and we are going to add a pole at 5. Now we need to add a gain. For that, just click and type gain. Type 34.7. Now we need to give the feedback. For that we need to add a summing block and we will change the sign to plus and minus. Now we will give the feedback. Since our root locus controller is ready, now let us check the response of the system. So we are going to run it for 10 seconds. Our design criteria are met. The overshot is below 5% and the settling time is below 3 seconds. Now our simulation is complete. So this is how we can create a ball and beam system from scratch using MATLAB. Thank you for watching this video.